Angelo is basically the equivalent of Lil Uzi Vert, or in other words, a very, very zesty creature. But that's not the topic of this video, is it? In this video, I'm going to talk about Angelo, their basics, and then analyze them further, and talk about how their design has caused them to basically be immune to falling off. I mean, think about it. When's the last time you saw Angelo under the A tier? Make sure to join our Discord server, and link will be in the description for it. Also, make sure to subscribe to keep up with future PowerPoints. First off, let's go over their stats. Angelo has an average health with 6,000 health, but that's where the averageness ends. I don't believe that's a word, but let's move on. First off, Angelo has an impressive range of 10 tiles, which is equivalent to Piper. Secondly, Angelo's attack charges up similar to Hank, with basically the same mechanics. More time spent charging equaling more damage, which can go up to 4,000. Finally, Angelo has the water trait, which used to be very special, but not as much anymore, though it is very useful for Angelo. And that's all for Angelo's basics. What's that? There's something else? Yeah, if that wasn't enough, Angelo has a very fast movement speed. If we're continuing the comparison with Piper, well, she has a mere normal movement speed. In fact, Angelo is the only sniper with a very fast movement speed. Combine this with their potential to deal great damage, which, mind you, is higher than Piper's attack at full range, their ability to walk on water, and their solid range, and you can see that Angelo's design is extremely powerful. But to understand exactly why Angelo is so good, we need to look at what exactly being a sniper entails. Snipers are brawlers who rely on chipping brawlers down at a long range, preferring to stay at fighting the long range. They rely heavily on good aim and are often punished for bad positioning and dodging, either being outskilled by other snipers as a result, or being forced into short-range battle, which almost never works out in their favor. All the sniper brawlers are Angelo, Mandy, Bell, Piper, and Brock, with an argument for Nani. Finally, keep in mind that all snipers are marksmen, but not all marksmen are snipers. Angelo still has the same chipping sort of playstyle as the other snipers, though Angelo does deal the most damage out of all the snipers with their fully charged shot. But their damage isn't the main reason they're very good, though it is a good one, as they still need to charge their shot up, which other snipers don't need to do. And it's not like Angelo doesn't rely on aim, as while you can auto-aim with them more often than you can with other snipers, there's still a good requirement of aim involved. So, what makes them stand out from other snipers? First of all, their ability to traverse water. Remember what I said about snipers being punished for bad positioning and dodging? Well, if you open a lot more of the map, then, well, good positioning and dodging no longer are as big of a concern as they would be. And this applies to Angelo as well. Let's take a look at Juan Carlos's favorite map, Bridge Too Far. What's that? We're not dragging that meme any longer? Alright, fine. Let's take a look at the heist map, Bridge Too Far. You have probably played this map over 100 times, but in case you haven't, in short, it's a sniper paradise. You'll see basically all of the brawlers that I mentioned are snipers in this map. However, it's unique in that the lanes are quite choked. On a map like Hideout, there's a lot more wiggle room, so you don't have to worry about dodging as much while having to worry about good aim much more. On Bridge Too Far, the opposite is true. You don't have to worry about good aim as much, but you have to worry about dodging much more. But what if suddenly the map was opened up to you and not your opponent? That's the case with Angelo, as they can traverse the water, giving them more room to work with dodging, while the enemy is still forced into the choke. This gives them an inherent advantage over other snipers in the map, and this isn't the only map where Angelo has an advantage over other snipers. If we take a look at just heist maps, we can see the same choked lanes and the addition of water on Safe Zone and Kaboom Canyon, where coincidentally, Angelo is also very good on. The ability to walk on water is something no other sniper can do, so obviously, this is already step 1 for them to be perpetually good. But arguably, even more important than Angelo's ability to walk on water is their very fast movement speed. I have no idea what they were thinking when they gave the class literally built for normal movement, and even slow movement, a brawler with one of the fastest movement speeds in the game. Sure, it's unique, but don't get surprised when it's difficult to bring the brawler below the A tier. But why exactly does Angelo's movement speed make them so inherently powerful? Well, it has to do, as you guessed, with their status as a sniper. As I said earlier, dodging and positioning is very key for a sniper to master in order to succeed. In sniper battles, you not only have to have good aim, but you also have to have good dodges in order to not get killed as well. And since most snipers have a fairly mediocre movement speed, they have to rely on being good at dodging. Well, guess what? This doesn't apply to Angelo because of their very fast movement speed. Because of this, it's much easier for them to dodge shots in general, let alone against snipers. This makes the sniper matchup much more favorable for them, as they can both dodge shots more easily, while also being able to move up against the snipers to create pressure, or retreat easier if threatened. All in all, this is an inherent advantage over other snipers that's present all the time, unlike the extra movement that Piper only gets in her super, or Brock only gets in his gadget. And that's not even considering their super. Angelo's super sees them leave a toxic area in the ground that lasts for 8 seconds with a 2.33 tile range. For each second an enemy is on top of it, it deals 1000 damage. Furthermore, if Angelo uses an attack while standing in the toxic area, then their next shot will deal 4 ticks of damage over 3 seconds, with each tick dealing 12.5% of Angelo's regular attack damage. Remember when I said Angelo's damage wasn't that big of a threat compared to other snipers? Well, that was kind of a lot. With their super, Angelo can suddenly deal huge amounts of damage, and this works in multiple ways. Angelo, of course, can charge up fully and deal huge stacks of damage, but can also release a whole ton of weakly charged shots that will also have the poison damage to deal at these short ranges. I mean, overall, Angelo's super basically covers both bases, short range to deal with their biggest threats, and long range to deal with other snipers. And if that wasn't enough, if you stand in Angelo's super range for too long, you will slowly but surely have to deal with a lot of damage. With all of these reasons, you can see why Angelo's very design is so powerful, and therefore difficult to keep balanced. Since you can't really touch their base mechanics like the movement speed and the walk on water ability without removing what makes Angelo, Angelo. So you have to find alternatives to balancing these. And what are those alternatives? Stat nerfs, of course. Things like damage decreases have been used in an effort to keep Angelo balanced, and I would say it has worked somewhat, as they're still a very good pick, but nothing too broken like certain other brawlers. And now, let's talk about Angelo's unlockables, starting off with their gadgets. Angelo's first gadget sees them jump 6 tiles in the direction they are facing, dealing 660 damage to nearby enemies while also healing. This is the stereotypical escape gadget and helps Angelo run from difficult situations, like an assassin or tank attacking them at a close range, or simply dodge a shot from a sniper. Overall, it's quite useful and has a lot of use for Angelo. Angelo's second gadget is Master Fletcher, which sees their next shot pierce through the environment. This doesn't have as much use as the other gadget, but it's still very good for catching enemies off guard, and also just killing enemies who are on the other side of a wall that you could otherwise not. Angelo's first star power is Empower, which sees their super now heal for 600 health per second. This is a very solid star power and gives Angelo a lot of survivability, while also continuing their theme of having an easier time than other snipers. Why? Well, the extra health this gives Angelo is enough to soak up an extra shot from a lot of other snipers, giving Angelo much more room for error when facing off against those snipers. Furthermore, it just gives him a better chance to deal with short-range brawlers, as they will not only be dealing damage to them with the toxic area, but healing themselves as well. Angelo's second star power is Flow, which sees them gain 25% increased movement speed after entering water. This is a very situational star power, but an annoying one to deal with nonetheless. This allows Angelo to basically dodge every single shot while in the water, which does have a negative in which it's only usable in water, which often doesn't make up a big part of the map, so it ends up quite situational, unlike the other star power. Finally, Angelo's hypercharge is In My Element, which sees Angelo's poison clouds move with them. This isn't a particularly unique hypercharge, but it's quite useful for Angelo, as it allows him to no longer be confined to one space, which was the main weakness of their super. Because of this, Angelo can now be mobile and have the perks of their super, which just allows them to be even more than a threat than usual, especially to other snipers who should count their days after seeing Angelo use their hypercharge. Overall, Angelo is one of the most interesting brawlers in that they always manage to be an extremely good brawler. This is because of how powerful Angelo's base kit is, with the ability to go over water, a very fast movement speed, and a super that accentuates their strengths. Because of these reasons, Angelo has managed to consistently beat other snipers not only in game, but for the spot of the best sniper in Brawl Stars currently. But anyway, thanks for watching. Watch this video, or this playlist, or join the Discord server.